Hello, good morning. This is the second video I do to learn some tips about pronunciation in English. Um, I have to say that for me the accent is not important since I myself I'm from Spain. My first language is Catalan, and having an accent doesn't mean that you are not able to communicate, but having a good pronunciation of a word um, does help. But yeah, these are some tips that helped me and that help my students since I'm an English teacher. So I'm gonna share it here with y'all. So the first one, this is one very, very common mistake for Catalan or Spanish speakers, and is the S at the beginning of a word. So one of the first sentences that a Spanish person learns is "I'm from Spain." Where are you from? I'm from Spain. But their common mistake is they add the E sound before the S because in Spanish we don't have this cluster at the beginning of the word. So they say, I am from Spain. Um, so the, the, the way I help them is by saying, for example, I'm first I ask them to say this sentence, to read the sentence out loud. They'd say, I'm from Spain, so I would add the E here, and then I'd say, I don't see any E written before the S, and they go like, oh, why did I say that? And it's because we're just used to having a vowel between the consonants, M, S, P. What I say is, imagine it's the same word. So from and Spain are the same word. So you say from Spain, from Spain. So you don't have to add the S sound. And then I write some other words like that begin with S, like spider or stop. And I ask them to read it again, and then they start beginning to be aware that they add the S sound, so they try and say spider stop, and then we try to make sentences with this, and I have a spider, no, I spider, or there's a stop sign, there is a stop sign. And sometimes I try to exaggerate my Spanish accent so they are aware of the differences, and so they can learn from this. So this is one of the tips. My second tip is fluent. We'll always sound robotic because we're trying to apply our own grammar. So what I do is I start speaking Spanish with an English accent, and I ask them to tell me what sounds I'm making wrong in Spanish. For example, hola, me llamo Iroka, vengo de Barcelona, me gusta ir a la playa and hacer surfing and beber una cerveza en la terraza. So after this, my students start laughing because I do sound funny. And then they have to work out which sounds are different. For example, the R, the L's, the T's. And then I teach them some tips that I taught in my last video. The T, the H, the P. And from there, I ask them to practice to pretend to be an English-speaking person trying to learn Spanish. And because this is a funny activity, they don't feel as shy because obviously they are able to speak Spanish or Catalan, and they just have to add an accent trying to mimic another person. So it's not their fault or their mistake if they are doing it wrong. And then when they try and feel these sounds in their mouth, like the R sound like like a dog, or the t, t, p, p, they are starting to be aware, and being aware is one of the first steps. And the last tip for today is the vibration. So, for example, the sound of the when we read this, we say the. For example, the unicorn, or the flower, or the stop. So I asked them to feel the vibration in their throat and to place their fingers here. So if they say the and they don't feel the vibration, which means the sound is going to stop straight away. If you do the sound stops. But if you go the then it's longer. Then this is the sound that you need to do to pronounce this word, and this goes with other words such as therefore, but it begins with the same letters. Well, this is a very important word. Trying to impersonate other accents or other languages whilst speaking your own does help being aware of the differences between one language or the other. Sometimes I even, because many of my students now watch Netflix, obviously, and some of them watch it with the original version, which I highly encourage in order to learn the language. So they pick up many words in American English, and sometimes they say, but isn't it better instead of better? Or isn't it water instead of water? So I also tell them the difference between the three main English accents, which are American, British, and Australian, for me at least, the ones that have been more in contact. So, for example, a glass of water, can I have a glass of water? That'd be British English. Can I have a glass of water? That'd be American. And then, can I have a glass of water? That'd be Australian. That's me trying to sound Australian. But yeah, at first for me, Australian was very curious because it sounded British, but they didn't do the T sound, like better water. They didn't do that. They said something in between. And when I asked my colleagues at work, they said, but what's that sound? Like the phonetic transcription of that sound, what is it? And they'd say, no, it's a T. And I'd be, no, it's not a T. Water is a T sound, but not wura. Wura. What's that? It sounds Japanese. And they'd say, oh, it's something in between. So for me, it's kind of a D sound. So it's in between the T and the R sound that the Americans do, which is water. So between water, that's water. I don't know. I hope this helps for some of you, even if you're not a teacher, if you're a student trying to learn English. I do my videos in English because I do believe that in order to learn a language, you have to be immersed. So I hope I speak clear enough and slow enough for you. Okay, bye.